I prepared hors d'oeuvres only for the family. Natasha, the daughter-in-law, had a malicious smile on her face. The portions on the table were clearly meant for 2 fewer people. Oh, what do you mean by family? I couldn't understand and reflexively asked. You're so slow to understand, aren't you? It means that you two are not family. To think people like you, so uncouth, consider yourselves family, it's an insult. There's no time left. Leave this house and don't come back. With that, my husband and I were practically pushed out of the house. Walking back silently the way we came, my husband eventually muttered, "Maybe it's enough already." Yes, I think so too. We decided to comply with Natasha's wishes. The inner conflict of how we were being treated seemed to melt away. Natasha's idealized life would soon crumble into pieces. My name is Hannah James. I am 48 years old and live with my husband, Ryan, who is 2 years older than me. Our son, Paul, left home 8 years ago when he got married. To me, Paul's wife, Natasha, was someone I could not fully connect with, despite being a family member. Natasha, who had worked as an office worker after graduating, became a housewife after getting married. From our perspective, Natasha always came across as a bit rigid. Though we met her multiple times, her behavior never showed any vulnerability. Paul, on the other hand, was academically gifted but had a calm and relaxed personality. I felt like their personalities complemented each other. One day, we were informed by Natasha and Paul that they had something important to discuss. "Hannah, if it's that important, don't you think they should come to us instead?" "Yeah, I think so too, but they're busy with parenting, aren't they? We have more free time, so let's go to them. Besides, we've never seen their home before." That's true. It might be a good opportunity. It was indeed our first visit to their home. We had never been invited before and had refrained from asking to visit, fearing it might be too intrusive. The apartment building in front of us was splendid, especially for a young couple. It looked like they lived a comfortable life. "Oh, welcome! Please come in." "Thank you. What a beautiful home." I wasn't just being polite. Their home was immaculate, not just because it was new, but because it was meticulously maintained. However, Paul wasn't home that day. Oh, what a shame. I was hoping to see Paul. Hiding my disappointment, I watched Natasha swiftly make coffee in the kitchen. "Here you go." The coffee she served smelled wonderful and tasted like it came from a professional cafe. Even the cups were clearly high-end, reflecting their elegant lifestyle. "Oh, this is delicious. Natasha, you're skilled at everything, aren't you?" "Paul is easygoing, so I hope he isn't causing you too much trouble." As I spoke, I stirred sugar into my coffee and placed the used spoon on the saucer. Natasha frowned. "Hannah, that's improper. You're supposed to place the coffee spoon on the inner side of the saucer, not outward. At your age, how can you not know such a simple thing?" She made a sly smile that felt mocking. Honestly, I had never paid attention to spoon placement. Flustered, I corrected it, but Natasha often tried to fix my manners like this. Although such instances were rare, they always left a bitter taste. It's no wonder Paul turned out the way he did, being raised by someone as sloppy as you. And the way he turned out? Are you saying we caused trouble? I wouldn't say it in front of him, but I sometimes wish he had been raised with stricter discipline. I was stunned by her words. Just then, my grandson Andy came out of his room and sat next to me. Andy was dressed in brand new branded clothes, looking like a boy from a well-off family. "Grandma, thank you for coming." "Andy, go back to your room. This is adult talk." Natasha tried to send Andy away, but I was happy that my grandson seemed fond of me. "Andy, come here. Let's chat with Grandpa." "Please stop. Today's not a day for playing." Despite her scolding, Andy tried to approach me, but accidentally knocked over a coffee cup in the process. "Oh no, that's unfortunate. Do you have something I can use to clean this up?" As I was about to handle the spill, an unexpected outburst occurred. Natasha, with a terrifying expression, began to scold Andy furiously. Her shouting was so fierce that even I and my husband felt uneasy, though we weren't the ones being reprimanded. Andy stood there silently, tears brimming in his eyes, as Natasha continued to berate him. "Natasha, maybe that's enough. It wasn't intentional after all." "No, it's not enough. Mother, please stay out of our parenting. If we don't address this now, how will Andy grow up to be a proper adult? We are raising him to become a doctor. He can't afford to be careless." I was shocked to hear that they were planning for Andy to become a doctor at such a young age. It's good to support Andy's ambitions, but don't you think you can give him more time to decide his future? Time? When will that be? If we wait, his competitors will surpass him. You're too lenient, Mother. That's why Paul is just a company employee, even at a prestigious firm. Andy must surpass his father. I will create a first-class family. Natasha's firm declaration left no room for argument. Her words shocked me, but what shocked me more was her complete lack of respect for us. I tried to calm the situation, but Natasha remained defiant, insisting her way was the only right way. Eventually, Natasha sent Andy back to his room and turned to us with a serious expression. "Actually, we have an important matter to discuss. The truth is, Paul's salary isn't enough to cover our living expenses. We need to borrow some money from you." "Borrow money?" "Yes, we need $4,500. It's for Andy's tuition and extracurricular activities." "Oh, that's a lot of money." "We will pay it back someday. I promise." I hesitated, but Natasha's tone grew colder. "What kind of parents are you, refusing to help your son and grandson?" My husband and I exchanged a look and reluctantly agreed. "Fine, we'll transfer the money." Natasha's face immediately lit up. "Oh, thank you. That will be all for today. Please leave now." Her abrupt dismissal felt rude and transactional. I wanted to spend more time with Andy, but Natasha refused, citing their busy schedules. Reluctantly, we left their home. On the train ride back, we quietly discussed Natasha's behavior. Has Natasha always been this strong-willed? She's refined, but she's merciless in her words. Maybe she's so focused on raising Andy to be exceptional that she's lost sight of other things. Let's help them for now. They promised to repay it eventually. We convinced ourselves that we were doing the right thing and completed the money transfer for Natasha. However, the issue didn't end there. The next month, Natasha called again. "Hello, Mother. We need another $4,500 this month. Can you transfer it by tomorrow?" Another $4,500? By tomorrow? That's impossible. Natasha's tone immediately dropped, becoming colder. Impossible? Mother, this is for your son and grandson. You should feel grateful that you can help. She acted as if receiving the money was her natural right. I need to discuss this with your father. Always passing the responsibility. How immature for an adult. Over time, the requests for money became a regular occurrence, and we felt trapped. Every month, without fail, Natasha would call and demand the same amount. This is an investment in our family's future. We grew increasingly uneasy, but continued to send money, hoping it would ultimately benefit Paul and Andy. Eventually, Natasha and Paul built a new house and moved into it. Realizing that their expenses had increased, we felt that our financial support had been used effectively. Building a new house must have been necessary. I'm glad our money could help. We prepared our housewarming gift and visited their new home at the designated time, 11 a.m. Oh, what a lovely house. Congratulations, Paul and Natasha. Not knowing what else to bring, we handed Natasha an envelope of cash as a gift. Will your parents be coming too? It's been a while since we've seen them. Natasha didn't answer directly, but instead began showing us around the house. Every room was spotless and well organized. Oh, this is wonderful, Natasha. Andy will surely thrive here. When we arrived at the dining area, the table was adorned with lavish hors d'oeuvres. These are from a top-tier restaurant, only the best for our guests. Oh, how luxurious. You're so knowledgeable about high-end places. As I counted the plates, I noticed there weren't enough for everyone. Wait, there are 2 plates missing. Did you forget to set places for us? Natasha smirked. The hors d'oeuvres are only for our family. What do you mean by that? Isn't it obvious? You're not family. Don't come to someone else's house expecting a free meal. Your role is to send money and that's all. Her words were harsh and stung deeply. How could you say such a thing? It's insulting for people like you to call yourselves family. Please leave immediately. Shocked and hurt, we left the house without saying much more. On the way home, my husband broke the silence. That's enough. Don't you agree? Yes, I do. We decided that we could no longer comply with Natasha's demands. If she didn't consider us family, then there was no reason to continue sending money. The next day, my husband and I resolved to stop all financial support. For years, we had felt like mere money providers, not true family. We had given so much, even dipping into our retirement savings, but it was never enough. The realization that we were not considered family brought a strange sense of relief. We felt liberated from the guilt and obligation that had weighed on us. Over time, the atmosphere in our home improved dramatically. We could finally focus on our own needs and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. About a month later, our doorbell rang unexpectedly. When I opened the door, Natasha was standing there. Natasha, what brings you here? Without waiting for an invitation, Natasha pushed past us and entered the living room. She sat on the sofa, crossed her legs, and spoke in a commanding tone. This month's transfer hasn't come through yet. That's because we've decided to stop. Natasha's eyes widened in shock before narrowing into an accusatory glare. How could you make such a decision on your own? Cutting off support means cutting ties with Paul and Andy. Do you understand what that means? Her words were biting, but we stood firm. Do you remember what you said at your housewarming? That we're not family? If that's how you feel, then there's no reason for us to continue helping you. Oh, that's not the same. You're the ones who are supposed to send money. It's your only purpose. Her words were so outrageous that we couldn't help but feel disgusted. $4,500 is necessary for our family's success. You're just hoarding money you don't need. At this point, my husband, usually calm and quiet, intervened. Enough, Natasha. We've had enough of your arrogance and disrespect. You treated us like outsiders, yet demanded our money as if it were your right. You just don't understand. Everything I do is for Andy's future. Even so, your lifestyle is unsustainable. You've been using our money for unnecessary luxuries, haven't you? Natasha averted her eyes, but her silence spoke volumes. Just then, the front door opened and Paul entered. What's going on here? He looked at the tension in the room and frowned. Paul, did you know we've been sending $4,500 to Natasha every month? What? No, I didn't. I thought her parents were helping us out a bit, but I had no idea it was this much. Where did all that money go, Natasha? Natasha remained silent, her face pale. I've been giving you money from my salary too, and you still needed more? We thought the money was going toward Andy's education and household expenses. But now I wonder how much of it was spent on unnecessary extravagances. Paul's expression darkened as he pieced everything together. Natasha, explain yourself. It's all for Andy. He deserves the best, doesn't he? Paul shook his head in disbelief. You've been using Andy as an excuse for your own selfish desires. I can't believe I didn't see it sooner. The confrontation grew heated, but Natasha could no longer maintain her composure. In the end, Paul made a decision. That's it, Natasha. I can't do this anymore. We're getting a divorce. Andy stays with me. A divorce? You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. I can't let you continue this madness. Andy deserves better. You're just going to throw everything away? What about our family? Family? You've been treating my parents like nothing more than ATMs. That's not family. Natasha started to shout in desperation, but Paul was resolute. I'll be taking Andy. I can't trust you to raise him properly anymore. Natasha turned to me and my husband, tears streaming down her face. You two are the cause of this. Why didn't you just keep sending them money? Natasha, this isn't about money. It's about your behavior and attitude. You took advantage of everyone around you, including your own child. Natasha glared at us, but there was nothing more she could say. Paul walked over and handed her a piece of paper. Here's the divorce form. We'll submit it today. Natasha, defeated, sank into the sofa. She muttered something under her breath, but we couldn't make it out. A few hours later, Paul, Andy, my husband, and I were at the local government office. The divorce papers were signed and filed. Natasha moved out of their home shortly after. Paul decided to stay in the house with Andy and focus on raising him in a simpler, more supportive environment. I've transferred Andy to a public school. The private school wasn't the right fit for him, and the expenses were unsustainable. He's also dropped most of his extracurricular activities, keeping only the ones he truly enjoys. That sounds like a wonderful plan. Andy will flourish with less pressure. Andy seemed happier than ever, running around our garden with a soccer ball. Grandma, Grandpa, look! I'm getting good at juggling the ball. Oh, that's wonderful, Andy. I want to be a soccer player when I grow up. Have you told your mom that? No, she always got upset whenever I mentioned it. Well, you can say whatever you like now. Follow your dreams. Andy's face lit up, and he nodded eagerly. My husband, who had been quietly watching, stepped forward. Come on, Andy. Let's see what you've got. Don't overdo it, dear. I'm still young enough to keep up. Watching them play together filled me with joy. Our home felt peaceful again, and we were looking forward to watching Andy grow up in a supportive and happy environment.